The sound of silence, the song of living. Chapter 1: The empty chair. The doctors said Richard's heart simply stopped. 3 months ago, on a Tuesday morning, while I was making his coffee the way he liked it, 2 sugars, splash of cream, I heard the thud from the living room. By the time I reached him, he was already gone. The funeral was well attended. Our daughter Michelle flew in from Seattle, stayed 4 days. Our son David drove up from Austin, managed 3. They held my hands, made the arrangements, sorted through papers I couldn't bear to look at. Then they left, back to their important lives, their meetings, their children's soccer games. "Call us anytime, Mom," Michelle said at the airport. I did call. Once, twice a week at first. The conversations grew shorter. "Mom, I'm just heading into a presentation." "Mom, can I call you back? Emma's having a meltdown." "Mom, it's really not a good time." The house became a museum of our life together. Richard's reading glasses still on the side table. His coat still hanging by the door. I couldn't move them. Some days, I'd set 2 plates for dinner before remembering. The second plate would sit there, mocking me, until I put it away and ate standing at the counter. I started talking to the walls. Just small things at first. "Looks like rain today. The roses need pruning." Then longer conversations, arguments even, with the silence. The silence always won. 3 weeks ago, I fell in the bathroom. Nothing broken, but I lay there on the cold tile for 20 minutes before I could get up, thinking, what if I couldn't? How long before anyone would notice? Days? A week? I imagined Michelle's voice, "Mom, I'm so sorry, I've just been so busy." That night, I took all of Richard's sleeping pills from the medicine cabinet and laid them out on the kitchen table. 43 small white tablets. I sat there for 2 hours, just looking at them. In the end, I couldn't do it. Not because I was brave, but because I was angry. Angry at being this invisible. This forgotten. This done. I swept them back into the bottle and threw it in the trash. But I didn't know what else to do. Chapter 2: The box in the attic. The mailman was new, probably didn't know to just leave packages at the door. When he rang the bell, I almost didn't answer. I was still in my nightgown at 2 in the afternoon. But something made me open it. "Mrs. Smith? I need a signature." A large box. I couldn't remember ordering anything. Inside was a letter from my cousin Margaret, whom I hadn't seen in 15 years, and 20 skeins of yarn in colors that hurt to look at. Sunset, orange, peacock blue, emerald green. "Found these cleaning out Aunt May's house," Margaret wrote. "Remembered you used to knit. Thought you might want them." She'd have liked that. "Call me sometime?" I stood holding that vibrant yarn in my dim living room and started crying. Not the quiet tears I'd grown used to, but deep, gasping sobs. Because I had forgotten. I'd forgotten that I used to knit. That I'd made sweaters for the children, blankets for every baby in the neighborhood. That my hands used to create things. When had I stopped? 10 years ago? 15? Somewhere in the years of Richard's declining health, of becoming a caretaker, of shrinking myself to fit the space that was needed. I went to the attic. It took me 40 minutes to find it, the old basket with my needles. My patterns, the half-finished scarf I'd abandoned decades ago. I brought it all downstairs and cleared off the dining table we never used anymore. The first stitches were clumsy. My hands had forgotten, but slowly, they remembered. One stitch, then another. I worked until my fingers ached, until the light faded. For the first time in months, I forgot to be lonely. Chapter 3: The morning I woke up. The scarf became a shawl. The shawl became a blanket. I knitted through April and into May. But the yarn was finite, and I needed more. The craft store felt too bright, too loud after months of silence. I almost turned around at the door. But then a woman my age, sorting through embroidery floss, looked up and smiled. "First time back after a while?" she asked, something knowing in her eyes. "How did you know? You're gripping that purse like a life preserver, honey." I was the same way. After my Hubert passed, I didn't leave the house for 8 months except for groceries. She held up her basket of rainbow threads. "Now I come every Tuesday. Sometimes I don't even buy anything. I just need to be somewhere with color." Her name was Dorothy. We had coffee at the shop next door. She showed me photos of her embroidery. Wild, abstract pieces that looked nothing like the samplers of our youth. She told me about her grief group, her art class, her book club that was really just an excuse for wine and gossip. "Your kids don't visit much, do they?" she asked, direct but not unkind. "They're busy." "They are. Mine too. But busy is what people are, Helen. It doesn't mean they don't love you. But it does mean you can't wait for them to make your life worth living." I joined her the next Tuesday. And the Tuesday after. I met women and a few men who understood the particular loneliness of being widowed, the strange guilt of wanting to live fully again, the fear that joy was a betrayal. Dorothy pushed me to try her art class. "You don't have to be good at it," she laughed. "God knows I'm not. But it's 2 hours a week where I don't think about anything, except whether cerulean blue is different enough from cobalt." The teacher, a patient man named James who couldn't have been more than 30, didn't laugh at my shaking first attempts. He showed me how to see light and shadow, how to trust my hands. I painted Richard's roses. Then I painted them again, wilder this time, less realistic. Then I painted things I'd never seen. Mountains I'd never climbed, oceans I'd never swum in, cities I'd never visited. "Mom, that's great," Michelle said when I texted her a photo. A text back, at least. It was something. But I wasn't painting for her approval anymore. Chapter 4: What Happened in June. In June, I auditioned for the community theater's production of Arsenic and Old Lace. I'd done theater in college a lifetime ago, a different person ago. Dorothy had dragged me to their spring show, and I'd felt something stir that I thought was long dead. I didn't get a lead role. I got something better. I was cast as one of the murderous aunts, a woman who's sweet and deadly, who lives life on her own peculiar terms. Rehearsals were 3 nights a week. I learned lines. I learned blocking. I laughed so hard at our botched run-throughs that my stomach hurt. The director was a fierce woman named Patricia who treated us like professionals, expected excellence, and bought us all drinks after particularly rough nights. "You're a natural," she told me after I nailed a difficult scene. "Have you done this before?" 50 years ago, I said. I'd forgotten. "Well, remember it now. You're good." David called in July. A rare phone call. "Mom, Mrs. Patterson from next door called me. She says you're never home anymore. She's worried. Are you okay?" I almost laughed. "I'm at rehearsal, sweetheart. Or art class. Or coffee with friends. Tell Mrs. Patterson I'm fine." A pause. "You sound different." "I am different." "Good different?" "Yes," I said, and realized I meant it. "Very good different." Chapter 5: Opening Night and After. Michelle and David both came to opening night. They sat in the 3rd row, looking slightly stunned. I could see them from the stage. My successful children, who'd forgotten their mother once had dreams beyond driving them to piano lessons. We were magnificent. The audience roared. I took my bow and felt 68 years of life settle into place. Not erased, not fixed, but complete. At the reception after, my children hugged me. Really hugged me. "Mom, you were incredible," David said. "I had no idea you could do that." "Neither did I admitted. "Not anymore." Michelle was crying a little. "I'm sorry we haven't been around more." I could have said what she expected. "It's okay, you're busy, I understand." Instead, I said, "I missed you. I needed you. But I'm okay now." It was true. I missed them still. I'd always want them in my life. But I didn't need them to save me, because I'd saved myself. Richard's chair is still in the living room. I moved his coat last month, donated it to Goodwill. His glasses are in a drawer. I don't need to erase him to move forward. He's part of my story, a chapter that shaped me but doesn't define my ending. Tomorrow, Patricia wants to talk about the winter show. Dorothy and I are planning a trip to an art museum 2 hours away. I'm teaching myself to play the piano badly, joyfully badly. I'm 68 years old. My husband is dead. My children are busy. My body aches more than it used to, and some mornings are still hard. And I am happier than I've been in 20 years. Life doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. It doesn't wait for company. It doesn't ask permission. It simply offers itself, again and again, in colors and textures and moments. In coffee with strangers who become friends, in paint on canvas. In words memorized and spoken under stage lights. I spent months drowning in solitude. I nearly let it win. But there's a difference, I've learned, between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is empty. Solitude is full. Full of possibility, of quiet discovery, of becoming who you were meant to be before life asked you to be someone else. I'm not waiting to be rescued anymore. I'm not waiting at all. I'm living. Right here. Right now. In this messy, glorious, imperfect life that is mine. And it is enough. More than enough. It is everything.